go to like the Chrome store, for instance, it's also in the Microsoft store. You can download it for free, and you can probably see it on my screen. It's this little icon here. This is our mascot, VBot, and it makes it super simple for sales professionals to record videos. So we don't want people to be bogged down with editing tools and going from multiple products to another. We want to make it really, really simple for you to click start recording and get your video and then be ready to share it. So it's one click to record. I'll open it up here. You'll see that I have different options on how I can record. And all I need to do is click start recording, and it's going to count me down and I'm ready. And once I click stop and I'm done recording my video, it's ready to go. And there's an option to now share that video. You also these tools allow you to really easily embed the video in email, because we're often reaching out to people over email. You can also send it over LinkedIn, for instance. And the great thing there, a question I get a lot is, well, doesn't this get caught in spam? And it doesn't, because it's just the hyperlink. So we are not attaching a really large video file to your emails. Instead, what we're doing is putting a clickable thumbnail that the person that receives that email can click on, be brought to another page, and watch that video. So there's no worry really about getting undelivered or getting caught in spam, because these links and these videos are treated very similarly to how your signature may be treated, for instance. So I see a question here. How do you make the thumbnail appear when you're sharing it on a Google slide? Well, that's a good question. Usually what I do to show a thumbnail on a Google slide is I'll just take a screenshot of the thumbnail itself and I'll paste it into the slide. And then you can also hyperlink that if you're trying to make a presentation and when you click on the video, you want it to play. So you can hyperlink it in Google Slides and grab the URL of the video and actually pop it in there. So I hope that was helpful. So these tools make it really easy to record, really easy to send. And then this last point, you get notified when people watch. So in sales, it is super important for us to know who's engaging with our video or who's engaging with our content in general. So there are platforms like Salesloft and Outreach, for instance, that will give you notifications when people are opening or reviewing your emails. Vidyard also gives you notifications on when people are watching your videos. So you know exactly when someone's leaning in, and it gives you the opportunity to follow up with them. So it's really powerful in that way. So I mentioned this previously, that these outreach cadences that we're using in sales, there are lots of different channels. We're phone calling people, we're emailing them, we're maybe messaging them on LinkedIn, maybe we're sending them direct mail at some point. So we want to think about how video not only incorporates itself into this multi-channel outreach, but also how we can use the other channels to support our video. So you'll see here in this step, this email right in the middle, there's a little screenshot of what the email was that was sent. It's an email that has a video thumbnail directly in it. Instead of that next call, maybe it's the next day you give this person a call, instead of just going with your typical script of that voicemail that you leave or what your call opener may be, think about how you can use this as an opportunity to get this person to revisit the video if they haven't watched it yet. So if they haven't watched your video, instead of leaving your typical voicemail, you may want to say, "Hey, Gary, it's Reva. I sent you a video to your inbox on Monday. I'd love your feedback on it. It's 60 seconds. Looking forward to hearing from you." Again, we're disrupting what that person typically expects, and we are increasing the chances that this individual is going to go into their inbox, try to find that video, and hopefully you've recorded a really compelling video with a great perspective to share, that when they watch it, they get in touch. The great thing is if they do go back and watch it, you now have the analytics to go and reach out to them and kind of try to engage that way. Next, we see a secondary email follow-up. And instead of just going back to what you typically would send out, think about how you can, again, use this email to get them to visit the video if they haven't yet. And again, with LinkedIn, you can send videos through LinkedIn, especially if you're connected to the person firsthand. So you can send the video on a different channel. So this is all about using other channels to get them to visit your video. And if they haven't watched your video, also sharing that video on other channels. All right, so here are some tips on how to be successful with videos in prospecting. Number one is develop a handful of standard scripts. You don't want to sound scripted, but you definitely want some idea of what you're saying in these videos. Develop these standard scripts so that you can do them over and over again, but add slight customizations for different individuals. So a good place to start would be take what you typically put in your email and develop it into a video script. You don't need to like recreate something completely. So lean on the messaging you already have. The second tip is to think about using visual elements and screen share ideas to get attention, because one, it's going to give you a better thumbnail. But two, we always want to remember that, you know, that saying a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's because pictures are much more memorable. They convey a lot more information than just text. Video is that even more so, right? So think about what you can show in your video, because if you show something compelling, it's going to be more memorable. It's going to stick with that person longer, and it's going to compel them to take some sort of action more so than a text-based email would. So think about what those visual elements may be. There's kind of like two categories, I would say, for these visual elements. One is something that is relevant to, I mean, you always want to be relevant, but like one is something that's like relevant to their persona or their company or their industry. But if you've done like social research on who you're reaching out to, and you realize, for instance, they're a big dog lover, or they love a particular sports team, and if you have a dog and they love dogs, think about just including your dog in the video. It's a humanized way to reach out to someone. You can't necessarily write an email and say, hey, I have a dog and you have a dog. That sounds kind of lame. But in a video, if you have your dog on your lap, it could be a cute way to connect and kind of make someone laugh. And in the end, if you can get someone to laugh or smile at what you're doing, you've definitely lowered their defenses and you're getting them to engage with you a bit more. I also know, just some examples offhand, that there was a thumbnail earlier in my deck, but she had a bottle of beer in her hand. And it's not because she was drinking while making the video, but she noticed that the person she was reaching out to was a big fan of this particular microbrewery. And she lived in the same area, and she had that beer in her fridge. So she held the beer up because the label would be in the thumbnail, and that person would totally recognize the beer and probably know that it was like her favorite brewery, and click play. Another fun example is there was a business development rep who was prospecting a company called Buffalo Wild Wings. I don't know if people have heard of that restaurant before, but essentially they're a wing franchise. And so instead of just, sending a typical email, he went out to a Buffalo Wild Wing and ordered their hot wings. And he sat in front of his camera and he pressed record. And as he was pitching the perspective he had on how his company could help Buffalo Wild Wings, he was also eating the wings and he was choking because they were so hot. But that video went viral at Buffalo Wild Wings. Everyone was watching it and sharing it with their colleagues, and it ultimately booked a meeting and opened the door to a conversation. So anytime you have an opportunity to be a bit creative, it's a great idea to do that through video. Another tip is keep it short. When we're prospecting with video, this is the first time we've reached out to these individuals. They've never talked to us. They haven't necessarily asked to talk to us. And so you haven't really earned a 5-minute video, and they might not necessarily watch that. So keep it like between, it says 30 to 60 seconds here, even like 60 to 75 is fine. Keep it short and figure out how to be concise. When it comes to how to approach creating videos in an efficient way, I highly recommend recording blocking off time in your calendar. Similar to how you may block time off to make phone calls, you want to treat video the same, because you're doing the same exercise over and over again, and you kind of get into a flow. So block off like 30, 45, 60 minutes to just record videos, and then sit back and actually send those videos out. The final tip I'll give you is that this is a good little saying, it's about connection, not perfection. So I've trained a lot of people as they get started on video. And one thing I hear is, you keep re-recording because you keep making mistakes, or you don't like how you said that, or you feel unconfident, or you've said too many ums or uhs. At some point, just accept the video for what it is and send it off. When your video sounds too perfect, or you haven't made a single mistake, it's a little bit jarring, because we're all human and we all make mistakes. So having a little bit of that authentic mistakes and things like that in your video is totally fine. It actually makes you more relatable. All right, so this is a bit of a sidebar. One question we get a lot is, what should my email say? Because, okay, I've got the video thing down, but we definitely don't want to send an email with a video in it and have no text around it. There are supporting elements to making the video pop. So the first supporting element is a subject line. Mentioned before that emails that have video in them have an 11% higher open rate. That's because of the subject line. Subject line is pretty much the only thing that can impact your open rate in this scenario. So think about pattern disrupts and using the word video in your subject. Some examples are here. So you'll see company plus your company name, video for you, or Rebecca, I made you this video. This is a fun one, 54 seconds that could change your life. I often mash this one with the second one. So I'll say, Rebecca, I made you a 54-second video. And that's a real pattern disrupt, because people are going to wonder, why is the video 54 seconds? That's so specific, but that's exactly what you want people to do. You want them to wonder that and then click on the email to find out why. Getting into the body copy. So what you want to say in the email, you want to balance piquing their interests and proactively addressing concerns they may have with giving too much away. So it's a fine balance. You want to pique their interest by calling attention to the video and why they need to watch the video, because that's the ultimate goal. You want them to press play, and you want them to hear what you have to say and see your personality and connect with you a bit. You also want to proactively address concerns they may have. So often, this might be the first video they've ever received from someone. A natural question could be, is this spam, or should I click on this? We've all been taught not to click on links. So think about how you can proactively address those questions that may be in people's head. So answer the question, why are you sending them a video? Did you really just make this video for me? How long is this video? If I click on this video, is it going to be 9 minutes long? I don't have time for that. So address that. And then how will it be valuable or relevant? So again, you don't want to write too much where the person says, okay, I get the gist of what this person's saying, I'm not even going to click on the video. But you don't want to not say enough and cause some uncertainty to the recipient. All right, now we're going to get into how to feel confident on video, because that can be a tough one. So the first tip we have is create like a studio environment that you really love. So before, a few years ago, I was in my bedroom and I was facing like a blank wall, and part of my bed was in the frame, and I just didn't really love my background. So I had the privilege of switching rooms, and I moved my daughter into a different room. This is her old nursery with her old wallpaper, and I bought a shelf and I put some plants in, and now I really love my background. And every time I turn on my camera, I just love the positioning, and it makes me feel like I want to record a video. So even if you don't have a whole lot of space, maybe you're living in an apartment and your living space is all kind of open concept, carve out a little corner, put maybe a piece of artwork or a plant or something that shows your personality off. If you play guitar, I've seen people hang up a guitar in the background. And just do that so that every time you turn your camera on, you're not thinking like, oh, I hate my I hate what my camera looks like. So really cheap ways to get that accomplished. Another important thing is like the lighting and the sound quality. So I have a ring light right up here, and I got it off Amazon. It's pretty cheap. That just helps me with lighting when it might be a dark day out. Winter is coming where I'm living, so it's going to be dark. And then if you do have a window, just be mindful of where that window is for you. If it's in front of you, that is perfect. Natural lighting is like the best lighting. And if it's in front of you, it will light you really nicely. If it's behind you, sorry, someone's delivered something. If it's behind you, be aware of that, because when a window is behind you, it's going to backlight you and your face is going to be really dark. So just be aware of that. And then clear microphone. I use these Apple headphones. They work perfectly fine. I also work by myself all day, except for my dog who just barked. But if you are working with lots of family members in your house, or you have a roommate, you can download this free tool. It's called crisp.ai. It's KRISP, and it mutes background noise, does it really well. So if you are struggling with that and you can't get quiet space, download Crisp. And the last thing is that obviously, if you've used Zoom, you know that you can blur your backgrounds. You can't always blur your backgrounds with these video recording tools. So there's just a note about supporting real backgrounds. Personally, I love real backgrounds. It's just a bit more authentic in my opinion. And yeah, so don't be shy of how your house looks or where your living space is. I think they're great. All right, so we are going to sort of recap some tips if you are going to get started with video. So number one, don't freestyle. You don't want to sound scripted, but you definitely need to have a plan. Number two, be conversational. Speak in a natural conversational tone. You don't want to sound too robotic. If you are someone who uses your hands like I do, use your hands in your video. It's totally fine. I also really recommend standing up if you can. It just makes you feel a bit more confident if that is something you're struggling with. Use screen shares. So you don't always have to do a webcam recording like this individual up here. You can also show your screen, and I feel like it's a bit of a stepping stone if you are struggling with confidence to have your little camera in the corner. It still shows you, but it doesn't feel so big. And also tools like Vidyard, for instance, if you really don't want to be on camera, you can turn the camera off completely and just show stuff that's on your screen. Get coaching. I mean, there are lots of folks on LinkedIn who share best practices when it comes to video. There are also like free trainings out there to get better at it. And then practice. Don't just record 2 or 3 videos and say, wow, that was super tough. I'm not doing that again. If you feel like video is going to impact your results, be that for like seeking a new job or in the role you're in sales, keep practicing, hold yourself accountable to a certain number of videos you want to get out every day. And over time, your confidence will build. You'll start to like remember what you want to say every time, and it's going to feel more second nature. And then finally, this kind of goes into practicing, like templates will start to come out. So as you record more videos, you're going to realize you're repeating a lot of the same things, and you're going to start to have these templated scripts. So over time, create a library of templates that you like for video, and just keep replicating those. All right, so now we're in wrap up. I believe you'll get this information afterwards as well. So I wanted to include 2 resources that will be helpful to you as you're getting started. The first is that Vidyard has a free video selling masterclass. So it's about 45 minutes. You can complete it on your own time. It's all on demand. And at the end, you get a great certification that you can publish on your LinkedIn profile. And if you aren't using a tool today to record videos and you want to start giving it a try, you can get our free tool here, but also Leslie's just popped in a promotion we are providing, a 3-month free to our pro tool, which is a step up from our free tool. So it provides you the ability to brand your page, provides you the ability to make some interactive calls to action in your videos, And so you will get 3 months free if you use that promo code that Leslie shared. And that is it.
Oh my gosh, this has been so amazing. I was literally taking notes the whole time because it's just, I mean, again, some of it is just the nature of our jobs and it's the nature of prospecting, but it's so hard. And, again, I've, everybody started talking about video and I thought, oh, this is fantastic. And I recorded a few videos and got like people didn't even open them. So then I started to pay a lot more attention about how and when to use the video. So yeah, I'm just super excited. And I didn't know about that masterclass. That's fantastic. So I will definitely check that out.
You might recognize me. I had bangs when I recorded it, but I'm in the masterclass.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, like I said, it's just, it's so important. And I think, as it relates to the sales challenges that the sponsors have posted, so they're a little bit different, but 2 out of 3 are about creating, a multi-step outreach cadence. And I just think people would be crazy to not include video in there. But again, as I've demonstrated with my own results, you want to be thoughtful and informed about how you include the video and not just kind of randomly indicate you're going to throw it in there. So, because I mean, this is, people want to see reps working to get better. And that's the only way to actually get results and pay the bills and do all the things we need to do. So, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that people are like, when you join a new team or just being in sales in general, I think that the reps that are always willing to push themselves out of their comfort zone a bit and try something new, even though it might feel a little bit like icky, you just try it and you build that muscle a bit. And I think those reps are always shine a bit brighter because they're always being innovative and they're open to trying new things, anything that will help them get better at their craft. So yeah,
just expand your comfort zone.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I do really like your background. It's great.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't love mine. I've flipped my desk a bunch of different ways, but you just keep working on it.
I know it's tough. And but even I just find plants really brighten things up, like just makes plants. And I've seen people use those decorative lights, like just string them. You can get them on Amazon.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So really
Yeah.
easy, cheap ways to spruce up your recording space.
And I've had some people who were facing into a room and they didn't like the background, and you could just literally flip the desk around. So then you're facing the wall, because then you can just decorate the wall. And, maybe you don't love what you're looking at, but
that's
from
okay.
a camera perspective, it's better.
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited. And I guess any other, I don't want to monopolize your time, but
oh my gosh,
so interested in this topic. So just if you had any other tips on prospecting in particular, specifically, and I don't know. So one of the things I'm always trying to figure out is, how to go a little higher in an organization. So I wondered so it's kind of a 2-part question. One, do you have specific tips on how you use video for like, kind of a new prospect? And then 2, kind of a layer on top of that is, what if it's like a senior director or a VP? Do you have a different playbook that you use for those types of people?
That's a very good question. And I would say that think about video like you would any other channel. So if in an email, we always think about writing the email for the person it's intended to go to. So if you're working with if you're reaching out, I reach out to sales reps a lot because people are signing up for our tool. I'll reach out to a sales rep and my messaging for them is very tactical, helping them hit their quota, helping them use video. But I also reach out to VPs, and a VP, that message would never work, right? So I would make sure you're leveling up your messaging a bit. You're being aware of maybe some big strategic goals the company has. If the company's public, that's very easy to get to. You can look at their annual reports, look at their press releases. If they're private, it's a bit more difficult, but you definitely can do adequate research to find some compelling high-level strategies and then speak to that. How can I help you? Or one, you want to display, I've done research. Two, you want to make sure the message is elevated to what they care about. And three, you want to think about what your call to action is, because your call to action may not necessarily be a meeting with them. If I was reaching out to a VP at a really large enterprise company, my call to action may be, are you interested in meeting with my CEO to talk about some industry changes that are happening? Or are you,
I like that. I really like that.
Is this something you're working on, and who on your team would be a good person for me to connect with? Getting delegated down. So think about what your call to action may be, because it might be different based on the level of seniority you're reaching out to.
I love that about because I sometimes ghostwrite notes for our CEO. So I'm trying to use that executive to executive outreach, but I haven't asked the question that you just asked. I really like that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And even think about your CEO reaching out to that person with a video. That could be cool.
That's
too.
actually really interesting. Yeah. Because we're actually really lucky. We have a CEO and a president. So they're separate. We have two of them. And they're both very charismatic, but in really different ways.
Oh, yeah. When people are charismatic and very personable, you really want to get them in front of more people.
Yeah. Okay. That's actually really interesting. Okay. Awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. So any other questions? Again, I feel like I'm
No, I think the questions that
your
you're
time because
asking
it's
are
been
really
amazing.
applicable for other people. And it is a really great question about personas and seniority. So
Yeah. Well, thank you again. This has been so amazing. And we will post a recording. It's actually been taking the team a little bit longer than I was expecting to get the recordings ready. So as soon as we have them, we will post them in the Discord channel, and we will, I posted the discount a few times, but we'll post that a number of times again in the Discord channel. So thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much. Good luck with the challenges, and I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.